Welcome to Para.university. We're going to continue C++ basics, and let's do a part 2 about some leftover things we should talk about from data types. And if you haven't seen the first data type video, up in the right-hand corner, you should see a link. I recommend giving that a view, and then continuing with this, some little things I want to cover. First off, let me go ahead and take out C time. That's not needed. But first off, you'll notice I already have include IO stream. I'm using namespace standard, and I got the program body ready to go. I have my terminal on the right. I'm using VS Code. If you're using something like programs, that's a way easier thing to get started with, but let's jump into it right now. Something I wanted to cover was what about all the different sizes? Because one of the things about C++ is memory allocation and efficiency. So when we talk about int, float, double, long, characters, and string, those are all going to have different size memory allocated to them. So how do you find out what that size is? So what we can do, we can see out, and we'll say bytes for a int. Remember, keep pointing to out, and we'll do size of int in line. There we go. And we can copy and paste. And we'll do this for a few things. We'll do int, float, and I'll edit ahead and spare you having to see the rest of me typing all this out. Okay, there we go. So now we should be able to see the sizes of each one of these. And that's going to show you the number of bytes that's allocated. Remember, there's 8 bits to a byte. Okay, if you're using programs, all you got to do is just hit run. But here we'll do g++ main.cpp-o test. All right, dot /test.exe for executable. Go, and there you go. An int is 4 bytes, a float is 4 bytes, but a float can hold decimals, an int cannot. The double is just a double of float. A long starts out with 4 bytes, but can be expanded on. Character is just 1 byte, and a string starts out with initial 32 bytes. And that's just a quick and easy way to see the memory allocation from each one of these standard data types. All right, let me move that back down to the bottom, a little easier to work with. So let's go ahead and get rid of all these. Next, I want to talk about static casting. So do static cast type, like whatever type you want, and then variable name. So this is really important because one of the fatal errors when starting out is division. So let's do something simple. We'll say int x equals 5. Say int y equals 2. All right, that's very reasonable. Then we're going to take their quotient. We're going to divide them. But we know that might be a decimal. So let's go ahead and be intuitive about it, and we'll say it's a double because we know that there's a risk of getting a decimal. So double, and we'll just call it divide, equals x divided by y. Okay, and divide, that's a math operator. I'm going to do a short video after this one about the basic math operators, but here's kind of the very intro of it that you'll see. So x divided by y. Now let's see out, put in quotes. So we'll do x divided by y equals, we'll break, point back to out, and put in our variable name divide, and L, control save, compile, run it. All right, we have x divided by y equals 2. But we know that's not the right answer. 5 divided by 2 should be 2.5. So how do we overcome this? This is where the static cast comes in pretty good handy. So we're going to go back to our double divide, and we're going to type static underscore cast. Our type, we're going to use brackets, is going to be double. We're going to use float. Instead of double, because the whole point of C++ is memory allocation, saving, and efficiency, so we'll do that. Now, let's see what happens. So we'll control save, compile. Oh, forgot a semicolon. But where? I didn't put my X in parentheses. Control save, compile, run, and there we have it. X over Y equals 2.5, which is exactly what you would expect to get. Another thing you can do, kind of a special case here, we can use auto. Auto isn't something you want to get too carried away with, but if you don't know exactly what's going to be best, but the type is still basically pretty obvious, like you know you're going to have a number, you know it's going to have decimal, you don't know if it's going to be a float size, double size, a long size, long size, etc. Auto could be useful. So we could do auto divide equals static cast float, and we're going to get the same thing. So auto is just something kind of keep in the back of your mind. And there we go. We still get x over y equals 2.5, which is exactly what we want. And that's all I was going to go over for this one. Just kind of short, simple, and sweet. Just wanted to go over the memory allocation differences as well as static casting, because I believe that's really important for when you're getting started, especially if you're going to be doing basic math functions, which is kind of going to be in essence the first couple of projects you're going to do if you're in an intro class. And then I also wanted to cover auto, and that becomes real relevant later on, especially when you start getting into structs and classes and you're going to be passing references and all this other whatnot, which is way later down the road. Auto can become very helpful. So that's it for right now. There's going to be another video out with math operators following this one. I hope you learned something and have a great day.